So today's intent is the recognition of the human potential for liberation. Um, this one is both easy and complicated, as is most things. Um, because the human potential for liberation has to do with, for lack of a better word, how much you're paying attention to yourself, to things external, to all of the stuff. Um, it mentions in the lesson that there's sort of two natures, the immortal and the corruptible, and God has made us out of both. Which sounds kind of like a contradiction, because how can we both be corruptible and incorruptible at the same time? Some of that has to do with the higher nature and the lower nature, and you know, the the parts of ourselves that have differing views and opinions and things. But I also think, well, let me put it this way. I've been reading the Secret Book of John a lot lately. Um, and I realized something about, because it goes into some of the details about the Gnostic cosmology. And I realized that if you look at this as an internal reality, you can really get into the details about how to overcome some of the things that we as humans don't particularly like about ourselves, or some of the things which, even if we do like about ourselves, get in the way of things. Um, and the part I'm going to mention the most is mentions four powers: understanding, grace, perception, and thoughtfulness. And the more I've thought about it, the more I've realized that if everyone in the world had more of those things, there would be less awful things in the world. And for me, it's easier to think about external things that I don't like about the world. And I sat there for quite a while and I couldn't think of anything that couldn't be improved with some more understanding, more grace, more perception, or more thoughtfulness. And the other thing that I found interesting is that also in this book, it talks about the four principal demons, which are pleasure, desire, grief, or fear, which I thought was a weird list for for the four principal demons. And then I thought about it some more and I realized that as humans, we can't completely get rid of these things, and that's not actually the point. Because, like, later on, it talks about from grief comes jealousy, envy, pain, trouble, distress, hard heartedness, anxiety, sorrow. And from pleasure comes an abundance of evil, vain conceit. And from anger comes wrath, bitterness, intense lust, greed. And from fear comes terror, servility, anguish, and shame. And for me, when I came across the servility thing, that one kind of hit me because I have a tendency to try and please other people or what I think other people want, which gets me in trouble, and which the other person, I mean, I can't read their minds, so half the time it's not actually what they want in the first place. And I realized that it's right. Like I never thought about it like this, but that does actually come out of fear. And I haven't quite figured out what to do with that yet. But it's one of those things. You can't fix a problem until you know there is one. Um, and I also realized that the demons they're talking about is basically if you take any one of those four things to an extreme, it ends up getting in your way or somebody else's as well. And that the way to pull back from that is to use the four powers. Um, perception, you know, you look at the things you don't like about yourself and you're like, okay, these are the things. And then you use understanding to go, why am I doing these things that I don't like? And then with thoughtfulness and grace, you can analyze that, give yourself some grace, and do the things you can to pull back from the extremes of whatever it is you're doing that you don't like that you're doing. And this is way easier said than done. There's a reason why therapists exist and make a whole lot of money. And sometimes you need other people's help because using the brain to fix the brain that's needs fixing is really hard. So having an external person to think with or do stuff with or whatever can be very helpful. Even if it's just a friend or mentor or whatever. So yeah, just remember that like a journey, enlightenment isn't about the destination, it's about the path you take to get there in the first place. This world is not perfect. We are not perfect. The point is not to become perfect. The point is to become better than you were yesterday in whatever way that looks like, even if it's just telling the part of your brain that is criticizing you that thank you for sharing, but that's not actually helpful. Because even the parts that are yelling at you just want to be heard. And sometimes just realizing that can shift things even just a little. So with that, go in peace, and may the Lord be with you.